Hello everyone, welcome back to A Link to the Past. I'm Prince B, and last time we got through the first dungeon in the Dark World, and now we're going through the second one. And we're just trying to get through all these dungeons as fast as possible. First off, I'd like to just wrap up this series, so that we can maybe move on and play another game. I've got a few on my list that I'd really like to maybe take a look at playing on here. And also, I've said it before, I'm recording this footage mainly because I've got something on my main channel a project that I'm working on. But, oh, I got the map. Who needs it? Sorry, I don't have a little counter thing going on every time one of those jokes happens, just to pretend it happened. Anyways, I've got that project coming up that I'm working on, but I kind of need that footage, like, ASAP, because I'm about ready to start working on the project. So we got to get through this fairly quickly. I'm thinking I may, because I've had a few days where I've missed episodes of Mother when I'm doing that, if you're watching those live, and I've missed this like 1 week too, I think. But I've been more or less trying to keep up to date on updating every week, every Monday for Mother, every Friday for this. Obviously, if you're watching after these are uploaded, it doesn't matter to you, but what I'm thinking I may do is Mother may go on hold while we try and turbo our way through this game and finish it up. I feel like and I may even have like a week where I upload an episode every day or something like that. Basically, just try and get through this very quickly, and then we'll move on to other games, find some things that are maybe a bit more interesting. I mean, I recognize that A Link to the Past has been done like literally 1,000 times, so it's not like one that people haven't seen before. So look at trying some new series, and yeah. But on that note, we're just going to try and get through this dungeon very quickly. I feel like I remember this one fairly well, not as well as the first one. I don't know why I played through this. Every time I play through the first dungeon, I always finish this dungeon. I actually happen to like this dungeon quite a bit, mainly just because of the item we get, which we'll get to in just a bit. But I feel like if I ever quit in the middle of a playthrough of Link to the Past, which I think I've done maybe once or twice, I usually finish this game all the way through. If not getting everything, I at least finish the main storyline. I feel like I always go at least to the 4th dungeon. Sometimes I skip the 3rd dungeon, just because that one's a pain. I may actually, just because that one is fairly complicated, I may pull up a walkthrough while we do that one. Again, in the interest of time. It's not like I couldn't piece it together, but I just want to get through this very quickly. And I don't feel like wasting 3 episodes on that dungeon. It just seems unnecessary. But we'll handle that when we get to it. There we go. There's that switch. And we're going to go through. And I'm going to sneak past this. And I know for a fact, 100%, that I will regret not flipping that switch and going around the long way in a little bit. You'll see why, but I got all the way there, I got most of the way to the reason why, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I think I needed to flip that switch back there. I disobeyed my own rule, which is every time you see one of those switches, after you activate it, and do what you need to accomplish with it, you need to switch it back. It's just a rule. It's not a real rule, but just for simplification, it seems like every time I forget to flip one of those switches, I end up having to backtrack. And we'll get some hearts. Those are nice. And we drop down here. I think this is just a rupee or something. Yep, I always grab that rupee on accident. Because I can never remember which side I'm supposed to drop to, but whatever. It takes like all of 10 seconds. We gotta go fast, but we don't have to go that fast. We don't have to skip things. I think we actually go through this dungeon fairly quickly, like way faster than I've ever done, even with that mistake that caused me to backtrack. I think every other time I've done this dungeon, it's taken me at least like 5 or 10 minutes longer than what I do it. Yeah, see right here. I can't go because I needed to flip that switch. I'm a genius. No, it's just a simple mistake. I can easily fix it. It takes... At least the switch isn't super far away, like if it was like at the beginning of the dungeon, but... I'm gonna come up here... And no hearts. Alright, I'm gonna grab the boomerang. And... No, not you. No, not you. I'm trying to hit the switch. Come on. There we go. And oops. Can't go through there. I don't know why I thought I could. I'm gonna swing down here. And yeah, this is the Swamp Temple. I guess you could consider this the water dungeon, or the water temple of, this Zelda. I think I had a tangent about water temples way back when we got the flippers. Which I'm just realizing this is the first place where we actually need the flippers to progress. But, we took care of that early. Yeah, I think this is like the simplest in most like I think this is the water temple that gets the least flack from players. Like Zelda is famous for having these impossible water temples, which really is like a myth. They're not that difficult. The Ocarina of Time water temple, I don't know if I mentioned this, but back when I used to play that game like it was my profession, when I was young, I was like 10. I didn't have anything to do all day, so we're going to just warp back to the beginning instead of backtracking, because we can go get that big chest in the middle room now. But back when I used to play Ocarina of Time like I was getting... Oh, didn't mean to do that. When I was playing it like I was getting paid to play it, I wasn't actually MLG Pro as a 10-year-old or anything. I just played it because it was as a kid, I thought it was the best game in existence. And to some people it is, but I wouldn't say so. I think there are better games. I don't think Ocarina of Time is a bad game, but it's not my favorite Zelda game. It feels dated to me, but that's beside the point. I used to be able to go through the Ocarina of Time water temple very easily. It was much simpler to me than the Shadow Temple or the Spirit Temple or any other temple in any Zelda, any of the other temples in Zelda. Like I always found the water temple to be fairly linear, and when I was playing it a lot, I was able to just speedrun that thing, like no mistakes. I never sat down and timed how long it took. Now if I were to go back and revisit it, it would take me a fair deal longer than that, because I just haven't played that game in 4 or 5 years. But I don't think the Ocarina of Time water temple is as difficult as everyone makes it out to be. And I used to think that the Majora's Mask Great Bay Temple, which is that game's water temple, I used to think that temple was so difficult, and then for my Majora's Mask review, I noticed that I'm actually talking very little about this game, but whatever. For my Majora's Mask review on my main channel, I actually played in the week or the 2 weeks before the 3DS version came out. I replayed that entire game 100% from start to finish. Got every heart piece, every side quest, every bottle, everything done 100%. And I did the water temple there. I wasn't supposed to go this way. I did the Great Bay Temple there, and I realized how it wasn't anywhere near as complicated as I had made it out to be as a kid. It was still a little complicated, but I was starting to notice that it was more me complicating it than the temple itself being complicated. I was actually kind of starting to find it to be kind of easy. I'm going to heal ourselves, that beeping is obnoxious. But then when I played it on the 3DS version, at first I was outraged because they changed it to where if you and I mentioned this in my Retroverse remake on that. They changed it to where in that temple, if you can't go to a certain room because the water flow, that room is blocked, or that passage is blocked off, and it actually doesn't change how you do the temple at all. It just makes it more clear where you're supposed to go. And once they did that, I realized that that temple is actually incredibly linear. Like, it's not complicated at all. It's just, like, very systematic. And I don't know. So, now I'd say the Great Bay Temple isn't even, like, a thing. It's not complicated at all. Kind of time-consuming, maybe, depending on how fast you can go. And definitely in the 3DS port, where they changed it to where the way the ice and fire arrows work, that definitely saves a lot of menu screen time. But otherwise, I was supposed to go grab that skull, I think, but we're going to bomb this first. I want to get some hearts. I know that there's some hearts in the room up ahead. But, so yeah, there's that rant. I will still say, I replayed Twilight Princess, or at least I played the first half to get footage for my top 10 scary Zelda enemies. I will say that the or the lake bed temple in that one, I'm still not a fan of that one. It's not tough. It's kind of time consuming, and you can get turned around in that one, but I don't know. I would say now that I've realized how linear Great Bay Temple is, that the lake bed temple is definitely more confusing than that, but I don't know. I think that the whole idea that water temples in Zelda is a myth is just that, a myth. And here we are, the first boss. There we go, there's the music change. That delay, I was like, wait, where's my music change? Alright, background information on this guy. If I remember, first we're gonna heal. If I remember correctly, his name is Argus, which I think in Latin or Greek, some language I don't speak, it means the Watcher, which makes sense because, voila, it's a giant eye. And speaking of Majora's Mask, one of the mini-bosses in Majora's Mask, I think its name is Wart, shares the name with the Mario 2 villain, is pretty much this boss. Instead of floating, well, he kind of floats. Yeah, he floats, but then in main... Yeah, I think he's pretty much the exact same boss. Instead of being like a jellyfish with an eye, he's just a gigantic eye. And instead of having these like cloud bubble things, they're regular bubbles. But otherwise, like, the concept of the boss is pretty much the same. I think you could use the hookshot to beat him in that version, but I always just use the bow and arrow in that version. Oh, phase 2. And gotta start just swinging. Oh, and we're dead. Alright, I'm gonna be really embarrassed if I sped run that whole temple and then we lose because I ran out of fairies. I'm gonna be embarrassed. Alright, if I remember correctly, there we go. Spin attack. Maybe I'm not even fighting this guy wrong, or correctly. This is just how I've always done it, is just spin attack him. Maybe you're supposed to use bombs or something. I don't think the hookshot works on this phase of him. There we go. Alright, I had nothing to worry about. I was worried I was gonna die or something. That wasn't real. Got the crystal. Alright, that's 2 out of 7, I believe. Link, thanks to you, I was able to escape from the clutches of evil. Thank you. The Triforce will grant the wishes of whoever touches it, as long as that person lives. That is why it was hidden in the Golden Land. Only a select few were told of its location. But at some point that knowledge was lost. The one who rediscovered it was the Golden Land was an evil thief named Ganondorf. Luckily, he couldn't figure out how to return to the Light World. Well, remember that you have magical powers which only the hero can make use of. There are some other magical warping points like the one you saw on Death Mountain. By using them, you can go between the two worlds and find the evils hidden in the dark world. You are the only one who can destroy Ganondorf, the thief. No, Ganon, the evil king of darkness. Do you understand? Yup. May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce. Alright, fully healed. And voila, we are done with there. Let's never speak of that place again. Again, I actually kind of like that dungeon, but I don't know why. I like the design, but it's kind of like a tedious thing. I think it's just because it's got so many fireballs and water things bouncing off the walls that it's just like obnoxious to try and maneuver through. But oh, also I completely forgot to mention it, but we've got maximum rupees now. So collecting any further rupees at this point is just redundant. And I know I said I was going to mainly rely on fairies, but I don't feel like going and getting some. And since we're already heading up by the potion shop anyways, we're going to pick up some red potions on the way. Maybe a green potion. The next dungeon, I always find myself running out of magic on the final boss, but I don't know. And that'll also enable us to carry more rupees as we find them. We're not to the point where we can actually play any of the mini games that you can play to get heart pieces and junk yet, so might as well just spend the rupees now and collect more as we go. Rupees are not an issue at this point. Also, we're going to talk to this girl and heal, and buy some red potions. Yeah, I kind of expected that dungeon to take 2 episodes, but that's the thing I do. I always remember things as being way longer than they are. I was playing an old GameCube game that I really love. It's actually going to be probably the next video I review. I'm dating this episode so much. But the next one I think I'm going to review is Custom Robo for the GameCube, known in Japan as Custom Robo, like Battle Revolution or something. But I was going back and playing it, and I remembered this being this grand, long adventure, and I finished it in like 6 hours. And that was me messing around. I wasn't even using like the best parts or whatever. I was just going through it like la-di-da. And so I just always remember things as being way longer than they actually are. So I think that's why I was hesitant to do that dungeon. I thought it was going to take that long. Tangent over. We're going to call it here because we did get through that fast, but not fast enough that we can do this do 2 dungeons in 1 episode. So we're going to call it there. And next time, the Skull Woods, the 3rd dungeon, is our next goal. Thank you, as always, for watching.